The following portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by Ask Master Mom.
Keeping open lines of communication with your child's teachers is vitally important. And this morning, Master Mom Amanda Olson is here to discuss sharing information about your child that includes any physical or learning disabilities. Good morning, Amanda. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you?
Oh, doing very well. This is a kind of a touchy subject a little bit because you know you're getting into like HIPAA and some other areas, but you need to share as much information with your child's educators as possible.
Yeah, it's something that I know is very difficult for parents. You know, if your child has a physical disability or a challenge in different learning, or maybe even they've been diagnosed on the autism spectrum or ADHD. There's so many things that parents might feel a little bit embarrassed or not sure, or if I tell someone about this, they're not going to like my child. And I understand that. You know, it is difficult to know exactly what to do. Being on the other side as a teacher and a coach, I find it extremely helpful to know all the challenges that a child might have, so I can teach them and lead them and help them appropriately. You know, so the more information that I have, the better job I can do. You know,
and when it comes to the education side of things, all that information that a teacher can glean and counselors at schools can get from the parents is also going to improve that educational experience for those children.
Absolutely. You know, if a child has maybe sensory issues where they don't like to be touched, or loud noises really affect them, if the teacher knows that, if I know that, then I'm going to be very careful with that child to help them have, like you mentioned, a good learning experience and a good educational experience by not, you know, overstimulating them or exposing them to things that cause them anxiety or stress. And by knowing those simple little things, it's very helpful. And it's been my experience with teachers and educators and coaches that I've talked to over the years that they love to have that information, and it doesn't give them a negative view of the child or the parent. It actually enhances it. It's like, oh, okay, so I can be more understanding, and you know, I love being able to communicate with the parents about what can I do to help your child better, that sort of thing. So I really do encourage parents not to be shy about that with their child's educators and coaches, but be very open, and I think they'll find it as a positive experience because they have an advocate as well, somebody that can be part of their village to help raise their child.
And I think it also allows those educators to craft that learning plan.
Absolutely.
That gives that child an individual learning arc as they go through their schooling.
Right, and you know, if I know, for instance, that you know, I have children come into the studio with all sorts of issues. You know, maybe it's balance is just something they didn't have naturally, or you know, and we can work on that. So I can take a little bit extra time with them, focusing on what they need as opposed to just what the general class is doing, and really see them improve. So I love that part.
And I was going to say, it also, you know, if they have that individual training and they have that taking care of them and their particular issues, it instills confidence in them as they go along and they master new skills.
Absolutely. You know, they realize that I can, you know, that whatever they're dealing with isn't something to hide, you know, but it's something to say, hey, can you help me with this? I'm, you know, struggling. And it could be something with maybe hearing impaired or visual. I mean, there's so many things, and the way to break through that stigma or that sense of, you know, I shouldn't tell, is for more people to talk about it. You know, and then it becomes, you know, oh, okay, you're working on that. I've had experience with that. Here's what we can do.
Okay. Communication, so vitally important between parents, children, and educators. It's just a great triangle there that we all need to be on the same page.
All
right, Amanda, thank you so much.
You're
for
welcome.
Stopping by. Olson's Martial Arts Academy is located right down the street here on Cherry Street. Give them a call, and they would love to see your child. Come on in, and if you got a question, there at the bottom of the screen is askmastermom.com.
The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities was sponsored by Ask Master Mom.